ever wonder what's up there? Like what? Maybe someone up there was wondering what it's like here. I guess. Do you think we'll ever meet them? I hope so. Don't you? Do you think we'll ever meet them?
Hello there, I'm Big Alias, and we've done it. We've made it to the peak of the mountain, the tip of Everest, to what I would consider to be my favourite game ever made. This is number one on the list, not only in this series, but of all the games that I've ever played. And if you look back at this channel, I've spoken endlessly about this game, and about how it's my favorite game and why it's my favorite game, and in vast detail. So I'm probably going to be retreading a lot here, but I kind of want to delve into the experience as well, because I think that was honestly the biggest part. I think that's what really set this game apart from other games. But I mean, in terms of the game itself, it's Halo 2 but refined. It's Halo 2 but way better, with all of the edges thinned, the gameplay's smoother, the graphics are honestly timeless. I mean, this game in 4K, 60 FPS on the Master Chief Collection, still looks great to this day. This is a 16-year-old game, 17 this year, 17-year-old game, and it still looks tremendous. It still looks excellent, because it was just, the look of the game was so perfect. It wasn't too crowded, but it wasn't too basic. It was detailed enough to look impressive at the time, and sometimes now, but it looked, like I said, basic enough to be absolutely timeless and absolutely perfect. A lot of people say that the only issue with this game is the story, and then it's kind of lacking. I actually completely disagree. Now, okay, compared to Halo 2, I do think Halo 2 is my favorite story of the series, but dude, I'm sorry, but the cutscene that follows the Covenant mission, the Covenant, the cutscene that follows that, with the swords through the heart, the prophets with their proclamations, the grandiose score, the huge shot showing the scale of everything, I'm sorry, but no. This story is incredible, and the way that it rounds off perfectly with the Chief, you know, not dead but just missing in action. Wake me if you need me. The doors are open, but for now I'm done, because all I had to do was fight in this war. Now there's no war to fight, then there's no reason for the Chief. And when it happens again, come and get me. That's the perfect ending. These were just soldiers, you know, particularly the Master Chief and Arbiter. They were just there to fight the war. They were machines, and that was it. And when they were done, shut them down, boot them back up when you need them. And that being the underpinning story of, you know, the subtext of the games, and then rounding it off so perfectly by just closing him off like that. Chef's kiss, absolutely perfect. I'm following that big, you know, the run at the end with the warthog run at the end, with everything crashing around you. And, it's absolutely perfect. But the game itself, I mean, the multiplayer was vastly improved from Halo 2. We introduced sort of slightly larger maps. The scale of the combat was a little bit longer. They introduced the ranks, and of course your rank is based off of how well you do. The only thing I don't like about the game was the ranking system, but there was one, whereas there wasn't one with Halo 2. There's the armor customization now, but of course the most important part was, as I said, the experience. The experience of it all was just...
Let me hear your body talk. That's the name of the song.
Let me hear your body talk.
Body talk.
Hey, body talk. Let me hear your body talk.
See, you went too far, Jam.
I'm going to pop out.
I would do crazy things to go back to it, and I think it's never been recreated. I think the closest we've come to recreating the experience of Halo 3 in its heyday was Fortnite. Nowadays, I mean, there's a lot going on with that game, and it's ever evolving, and the community and stuff like that, you know, everything is constantly changing. This is the closest we got to Halo 3, but... And I know there's bias here, there's a lot of bias here, but for me, Halo 3 will always be a better experience. It will always be the #1 experience for me. Thanks to things like Forge, this was the first time where, particularly on a console, we were able to create our own fun. And by create our own fun, I do not mean plopped into an open world and you have to, designate where the fun is. No, you're given the tools and told to be as creative as possible. And I almost think that there's like a limiting factor to how good, some of these creations were. Because nowadays, yes, we have you can do so much with Forge in Halo Infinite. You can add AI, you can add like evolving parts of levels and stuff. Like, you pretty much make missions of your own. It's absolutely astronomical nowadays. Back then you had to really think and do creative things, and there's something about how homegrown it was that lent a lot of charm to the maps. They were very charming, and it makes it very nostalgic and just super fun uncovering things. But B, you really had to think on your feet and create something that is unique and different that only you could think of, because you had very limited tools with which to create, and we made some awesome stuff. Jenga off of the side of Standoff, where you have a grav lift at the bottom and you have to knock the movable items like the cylinders and the blocks and stuff like that into this stack of blocks that has physics on it. So if you hit it, it moves and can fall into the abyss. And you're all standing there on top with your buddies, and there's 4 of you, and someone's knocking the crates and what have you into the Jenga tower, and you're just screaming, just like, no, not me. And then you hang on to the edge, you sort of fall onto the edge of that tower as everything is falling around you, and you just breathe a collective sigh of relief, like, oh, I made it. And then you rotate and switch throughout the process of the game. There's Fat Kid, where there's one person who's very slow, but they're completely invincible, and they have an energy sword. And then there's you and a few other people, and you're on a map on Foundry, and slowly over time, there's these tunnels that you have to run through, and slowly over time the tunnels remove themselves as you move on through the mission, and you have to try to get to the end of it and seal yourself off before the person catches the slow person, the Fat Kid, with the energy sword. And it's just Ghost Town. Oh my god, dude, Ghost Town. Oh, what an experience. So one of you is, again, one of you's slow, but one of you's really fast. The one who's slow is invincible, and the one who's really fast isn't, and I think has really low shields. But the one who's really fast also has 0 gravity and low gravity, I believe, and is tremendously fast. So you're running around, you're zipping around this town, and of course invisibility is, it's, if you move, you show yourself. So you're this invisible character running around, trying not to go too quickly, because if you go too quickly, then you're going to get spotted by the person trying to kill you. So you have to slowly zip around the map, or you can go tremendously quickly and do it so fast and so in such an agile way that the other person doesn't catch you and doesn't take you out. And of course, there's Duck Hunt, where you have this big loop and you're all in mongooses and you have to try to get along this narrow track without falling off. But there's also someone who's trying to snipe you as you're doing so. Stuff like this. This is just scratching the surface, scratching the tiniest part of the surface. But it was so much fun. It was unbelievable fun. What, you can't aim down sights?
Where am I?
In a jungle!
The one I'm looking for. I've got to shoot
You've
someone.
got to kill all the enemies and complete the galaxy.
So,
save the mission.
who do I have to look for?
Enemies.
Yeah, but what enemies?
The aliens enemies! When you had a party of 4, 5, 6 people all in a game, playing these mini games, during the summer of 2010, I barely touched the multiplayer. I just played custom games. We would load in, sometimes we would make our own, custom games, or a lot of the time we would just go into the file share and we would download custom games, and we would just play the game in a way that was fun for us. It wasn't competitive. It wasn't like who can shoot who can win each game. It wasn't that. It was just mini games. It was just, let's have fucking fun with this game. You gotta. That's a brute. That's not the actual soundtrack. That's just Ashley.
Fucking hell, I can't play this game. It's too hard.
Why is it too hard? You're gonna die. Try shooting the brute rather than the water. Hey, see, it worked. And it worked so unbelievably well. There was that, and there was the Vidmasters, which I've again spoken about extensively on this channel. The Vidmaster challenges are incredible. 7 tremendously hard challenges that you have to complete in order to get what's called the recon armor, and you can only get that armor not through microtransactions, not through like daily challenges, anything like that. You had to complete 7 tremendously hard challenges between Halo 3 and Halo 3 ODST in order to get this recon armor, and getting there was so fun. I cannot begin to explain it to you. Like, it was stuff like collect all of the skulls, so get all of the collectibles in the campaign. Harder than you think. What was it? There was one for completing the final mission in Ghost on Legendary with the Iron Skull on, which means if one of you dies, you go back to the checkpoint. There was one for blah blah blah, you know, so on and so forth. I think the hardest one, the one that I didn't do, was the firefight one, where I think you have to complete firefight on Legendary to its completion, and then there was some kind of caveat, I can't remember what it was, but it was so fun. I could talk about this all day. I could talk about what an experience Halo 3 was, and how perfect it was, and how I would give anything to go back to this time. Am I nostalgic? Yes, I'm so nostalgic for this experience, but it's for a reason. You know, though games have come slightly close at times, I had a great time with Black Ops 1. Like I said, nowadays kids have got Fortnite, and I think that runs almost similarly to Halo 3. Nothing will ever come close to this experience. It was just something else, and something that I think, particularly with the way things are now, with, you know, the bolted on microtransactions and what have you, I don't think this will ever be recreated, and I'm so glad that I was able to experience this, because so many won't. But that was Halo 3. Is there any point in even giving a score? You know what the score will be, but here's the score. Well, that was it. Thank you very much for watching. Next up will be ODST, and then the rest of them. Thank you very much for watching.
The PlayStation is only $149, and you can also get leading titles.